So, anyway, moving on to Riot, who have
so moving
colossally
on
fucked
to the
up,
Twilight Zone, because this is getting a little bit real.
which is
So for those of
entirely the
you
problem.
not aware, yeah, it's like, wow, what the hell. Anyway, for those of you not aware, Riot, the makers of League of Legends, which you should be aware of, but if you're not, have released a new character called Seraphine. And Seraphine is a new champion that replaces Sona in every conceivable way. Sona being another champion that is much loved, and now no longer because Seraphine is here. That said, she's very, very, very much came into the game with a lot of fanfare and a massive campaign sort of announcing the character. The thing is, this campaign wasn't just in the game. The campaign to announce Seraphim was around creating a character or a person that is Seraphim, who is a real person in the world. Not for real, but that's how they played it up. And yes, it is Ninja. It's definitely a rerun, 100%. Uh, um, Here's the deal: when they created a Twitter account for her, and then a personality, like a real world personality, and then she has a cat named Bao and does face masks and lounges in the bath and like is a fan of KDA, the Riot Games pop band that they made. She's a cafe worker who aspires to be a musician, and over time, obviously over the last months, we spoke about this a couple of shows ago, this sort of spiraled into, oh, hey, look at this, there's a new character coming. Ta-da! It's Seraphine, yay! Well, as this rolled up, she got noticed by KDA, and then, she's flying out to record with the group, and this all was sort of in the run-up to the release of the Seraphim champion character. But things started turning out a little bit weird when, after release of the character, she started tweeting about her anxieties. How she felt she was suffering from imposter syndromes. She was performing with KDA. She asked fans to send her encouraging messages, which she put on a core board over Twitter. In the initial replies for the request for encouragement, there was a lot of disdain as well. People saying this is disgusting. Hey, this is fucked up. Using mental health struggles and crisis as a marketing ploy. And anyone that did actually reply anything encouraging was obviously quickly spammed by other people saying, this is not a real person. This is a PR team promoting an in-game character. And the Golden Guardians Academy's head coach, Baraka Mohammed, mentioned on Twitter is something about a marketing account using self-doubt and mental health to come across as relatable is Sag capitalism. And it really kind of feels really dirty to me as well.
Yeah.
But it's like icky in some way. Like it's on one hand a really ingenious way to do PR. On the other hand,
there's ingenious ways to do PR, and then there's
they still make me go yuck. I need the show.
Well, there's fucking around with mental health.
There's
fucking around with mental health issues, and there's a line, and that's on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, and maybe they had the best intentions, but clearly that was not how it was received. So let's
the person,
moving on from there.
Nope.
Sorry.
I was going to say the person who actually wrote and managed the Twitter account was using some of her own personal experience.
Yeah, they weren't invented experiences. They were just
for sure. So
repurposed.
Again, it's probably done with the best intentions, but definitely not received that way publicly. And while there were still fans that found solace in Seraphine's tweets and sort of what she was saying and that, many others found her anxieties upsetting, especially in the current gloomy COVID era. She's not a real person, and she shouldn't be coercing people into feeling close to her using mental illness, which when she's a social marketing campaign for a video game character. Now, some people have compared Seraphim to Mikila Sousa, a fictional CGI influencer.
I feel like I recognize that name.
I think we discussed her once on the This Is Stupid section.
Yeah, I think we did. Since she was creating relationships with other people while not being real. So it was like an influencer and like actually doing content and cross posts, and like it was a very weird sort of experiment by some people. But lots of people compare these two things together. And so obviously this sort of post is a clear indicator that the brands and the characters posting are not our fucking friends, and neither is Twitter, clearly. So while the KDA campaign was run by creative director Patrick Morales, all of Seraphim's tweets were written by Bethany Higa, and Bethany Higa, who runs the Twitter account itself, apparently used her own experiences to craft Seraphim stories to make them more relatable, and apparently maybe a bit too relatable. Yeah. She says, honestly, I wrote a lot of that story based on my own experience as a young woman coming to Riot. It's like one of my first jobs after college. I personally experienced self-doubt. I personally experienced imposter syndrome and all those things. And the intention behind the story was to show that sense of hope, that sense of persistence, and show her, Seraphim, growing in confidence and overcoming those struggles and those fears that Seraphim, might have. So that isn't to say Riot isn't willing to say, okay, well, we had the best intentions, but clearly this wasn't received that way. Sorry, we fucked up. They definitely are. And while I'm personally and while Patrick Morales says, I'm personally proud of the people on our team, like Higa, who has written the character, who put very intimate parts of themselves into the character. We also recognize that the story we choose had an unintended impact outside of the narrative we were trying to tell. Right now, what I could say is that we're conscientious about how she engages her followers, as well as topics that may potentially hurt or mislead people. So we have no idea what's next for Seraphim, what Barrett has planned. But obviously, we all hope it's not making her, an online psychologist in any capacity, because she's not real, nor a psychologist, nor in any way a person.
Anyway, too sharp. Anyway.
So yeah, this is a really, really interesting topic to me. Obviously, Riot is trying to sell us a game and a character, and using mental health for that, or people's mental health issues for that, is fucking disgusting. So let's say that first. On the other hand, why would this be any different than indeed Michaela Sosa, speaking about her mental health, or how we relate to, for example, the struggles in A Plague Tale, which I just finished playing a couple of weeks ago, with the characters that experience those pains there, or Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, and the pain of them losing their father, and the journey they're dealing with, and or their mother, I don't remember, like all those things that happen in that game, and how we take solace and consolidation out of that. How is this any different, you think?
You're assuming I think at all, which is a stretch at best of times.
No, I'm kind of curious because obviously this fell on the wrong ears when those things were very much well received.
I mean, it's a question of you have the side of it, which is that having a character who has mental health issues is better than sweeping it under the rug.
Yeah.
And that's fine. The problem isn't that the character has anxiety issues. The problem is that the character was also effectively masquerading as a real person, and they weren't actively lying about it. I mean, I think it was fairly open once it was revealed who it was, at least, that this was, not a real person, but...
Yeah, but I think that was fairly... this was after the character got released already, so she's already in the game. Like, this is not something that... I think even her Twitter bio mentions, like, go to League of Legends and you can, like, play her. At this point, so
it's the difference between opening it's the difference between like opening a YouTube video, for example, of a story video, whatever, of someone where you have that conversation, and something scrolling past on your Twitter feed, one of which you have somewhat more control over than the other, unless you have. And then there's limits to that. YouTube is good at throwing videos in your face, but Twitter just scrolls and scrolls and scrolls, whatever. So you can just go through and see it without any real direct interaction, whereas with YouTube, there's at least a certain, I don't know, maybe it's just because I permanently have autoplay turned
games
off.
In particular, let's say
the thing about in games is that in a game that
everything that happens.
It's very clear that this person is not real. When something is being marketed on Facebook or Twitter, on social media, that's not always clear, especially when it becomes.
I don't think anybody's mentioned that this is about they thought the character was real. It's about that they're using mental health as a marketing ploy. I really doubt anyone ever, I will not speak for anyone ever, but like since the character was at least released, I doubt anyone has thought this was a real person at all, obviously, because this is clearly a character. The character's released. There's a marketing surrounding the character, etc. So I don't think it's about whether or not the character is real. It's about they're using mental health as this to me is no different than what some people do with D&D, where they on Twitter have their in-character personalities that have a like. This happens a lot.
You're not trying to sell You're not trying to sell someone something on your D&D profile.
Maybe if I'm a webcomic artist and I also have their own character pages, I'm trying to sell my webcomic. For me at least,
that's different though. You're trying to sell a webcomic. You're not trying to sell a character. It's a little bit different. It's similar.
It goes a very thin line to me at least.
Yeah.
So on that end, how is that different if they have mental illnesses? And again, when I come back to something like a character in a game, Senua's Sacrifice is a perfect example that approaches mental health as like the key point of the entire damn game, and it does a tremendously amazing job at it.
I thought that was a permadeath mechanic, which was the key point of the entire game.
But Senua's Sacrifice didn't start, couldn't be misconstrued by people when they were scrolling through their Twitter.
You didn't have Senua posting on Twitter.
No. But again, is the point that it's on Twitter? I'm trying to figure out. So what I'm trying to say is, obviously, using something like I repeat, using something for PR is trash, and people should feel disgusted. My point is this about that they are using it for PR, or is this that because it's not a real person? If this was the marketing director saying, "Hey guys, we're recording a new album, could use your well wishes. Also check out this new album," would that be good? Would that also be construed as abusing? Or faking, quote unquote, a mental health problem to get links to their album? To me, the line becomes very, very thin.
Oh, it's a very thin line, yeah.
Where I'm finding, like, obviously this fell on the wrong ears, and okay, but I think it's a very arbitrary distinction in my opinion, where I don't know, maybe a different entity, a different person, a different character. Maybe if Senua had posted on Twitter through magical voodoo magic from the Viking era,
that would have been a very different game all of a sudden.
That would have been really cool. And spoke about her issues. Maybe that would have also been construed as a marketing ploy instead of
I feel that would probably have gone over the same line at that point.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel it would. Know. It's a tricky one. It's almost the case.
People like bitching about Riot because Riot is bad.
I mean, there is also that Riot's a substantially bigger company than Ninja Theory is.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter really, does it?
Not in and of itself, but Riot does not especially need to market a new character.
No.
Whereas in Ninja Theory's case, it's very much
the game.
Well, yeah,
with
they don't need to market League of Legends. Whereas for Ninja Theory, it's very much a case of the studio's still be operating in 2 months' time.
Again, whether or not, obviously, Riot needs to market because League of Legends does not sell itself. In that case, nobody would need marketing. This character is just a way to say, hey, we have this new cool thing in this game you may have heard of in the past, or you may have played 10 years ago. Here's this new cool thing. Look at all the other things we did. So. That aside, they definitely need to market. My point is more, I don't think that this would have been badly received if it was Senua, or if it was some other well-loved, if it was Shepard from Mass Effect. I think it would have much better received.
Probably true.
Because we like that game and we like those characters, versus Riot, which is the big, bad, evil Riot.
It's not so much that it's a big, bad, evil Riot. It's more that League of Legends is the official toxic cesspit of gamer internet.
Yeah, for sure. But that's my point. It's like, I think this would have been better received. Simply because
on almost any other game,
a better connotation with a different character, and not because it's them using mental health. Because I don't think, and maybe I speak too much for myself, but I don't think most people that are not personally dealing with that really care what people are using for marketing. They either don't care about the game or about marketing, and because this is not new. This has been done a million times by many scenarios. To pull your heartstrings for everything from supporting a charity to buying the fancy sticker. It doesn't matter. So yeah, Good or Bad admits that it's not doing it, and
at least they admitted it.
See how this evolves from not just because this is a fake person, or whether this is a real person or not. But I'm kind of curious to see how this evolves with other sort of not real people. Like if the Gorillaz band, that is a CGI generated band, starts doing something like this for like a charity concert, would this be considered as a PR? I don't know. I'm kind of curious, and we'll definitely see more and more of this as media technology evolves and things like real-time deepfakes become possible with animated characters, and you can do these things like much more dynamically. So we'll probably see more and more of this, and I'm wondering how people react.
We shall see.